Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Resident Evil 8. We just met the, our not Del Lago from Resident Evil 4 in this game. Ooh, sparkly.
You know, apart from the fact that they're both giant fish, there's not much similarity between this and Del Lago. I mean, even the fact that there's a
aquatic creature, I think that's the basis.
but like the encounters are very, very different. One is just a giant.
It's like Irving. It's Irving in Resi 5. It's Irving in Resi 5. He becomes a big fish.
All right,
There's
I forgot
a
that guy
Resident Evil
existed.
5?
Don't start, dude. It's a good game. It's good. It's fine.
It is good. It's just like the
it.
awkward middle child. Not quite as good overall as 4, and not quite as out there as Resident Evil 6. So.
Well, I thought I would consider 6 the awkward.
No. I said awkward middle child. It's like, okay, Resident Evil 6 is...
It's the Sonic Heroes of the franchise, John.
Resident Evil 6 has problems, but they're the kind of problems that jump out at you as you play. Resident Evil 5 just hits the same beats as 4, but not as effectively.
The only thing I ever hear people
it.
talking about with 5 is the fact that it's questionably racist in quite a few moments. That's the only thing I ever hear anybody.
They talked about it when the trailers first launched, but I never heard anything about it since then.
It's kind of weird. Resident Evil 5 is like, yeah, it's a story about a white guy going to Africa, and like, if that were written by a white guy, it would be kind of transparently racist. But it was a story written by a bunch of Japanese people, so I'm not really sure what to feel about it.
And he also had an African lady with him, so it was all okay.
See, the game can't be racist. It has a black friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably the most like awkward part of that is like your black companion for the game is like the only conventionally attractive black person in the entire game. Like,
hey, excuse me, Josh?
Wait, which one is Josh?
Quite a snack.
Who's that?
Oh yeah, no, Josh is
He's the helper.
Which
helper guy from the beginning.
Yeah.
The guy from the beginning.
the guy that made Resident Evil 5 the game that it was. Come on.
Did he die
Don't you
within the
remember
first 5
Josh?
minutes? Did he die within the first 5 minutes?
No, he was like there until the
Josh Stone. He was a member of the BSAA.
Yeah, he delivered the final blow at Wesker, and then the credits all had him running around, and it had great music.
I don't think.
Well, I don't remember him, but maybe there were 2. I don't know.
Can we conclude this at the very least? Resident Evil 4 is Sonic Adventure, Resident Evil 5 is Sonic Heroes, and Resident Evil 6 is Shadow the Hedgehog. Is that?
That seems to be kind of what I feel like coming as an outsider, because I don't hear anybody ever talk about 5, but a lot of people just don't like 6, from what I've heard.
5 is just like, it's fun. It's Resident Evil 4 again, slightly less well-paced, doesn't have as good of an inventory system, slightly held back in the single player by the
forced co-op and all that.
By the co-op aspects, and you can't play as Sheva until you've already beat the game, which is annoying. And then when
this is gonna de-age me by like a good 20 years when I say this, but Resi 5 was the first Resi game I completed when I was younger. It was the first one I played from start to end. So yeah. I've got a nostalgic bias. I think it came out when I was like 13 or 14. I can't remember. It was a while ago, but it scared the shit out of me when I was that little. It was pretty intense.
Hey Ryan.
Speaking of RE5.
Ryan, you missed the fish. You missed the fish. You're locked out of the best food item now.
Don't care. I already have it.
Players, if you're watching this before walking into the tent, which is a point of no return, hang a right and get some fish. That's all there is over there, but like there's a limited number of fish,
Ethan.
And
yeah, that's
like,
why Chris is upset with us.
Just had to edit in that King Ramses clip. Like, you missed the
fish.
Also, this is like the most random way to reintroduce Chris Redfield into the story. You just walk through a tent and there he is. He's just there.
Also, it's also one of those weird things where Chris.
You interrupted his dad jobs. Like that's all.
Yeah. It's also just weird where he's like, "Oh, Ethan, you're out of your depth." It's like I literally killed 2 of the more dangerous lords on the way here.
I'm halfway through a game that's 10 times more intense than your first adventure. What did you kill? A fucking giant snake. Ooh, I'm so impressed, Chris.
Ethan,
I slayed a dragon.
Ethan, you're out of your depth. Chris, come on, we're by a lake. No time for puns.
It's like, you know.
Wait. Was that? Wait. So does he shrink and grow at this like different times?
Yes.
Yeah, he involuntary transforms.
Oh, I didn't know
transforms
that.
when he wants to.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
he has some control over it, but he also doesn't. So, like,
Are we supposed to feel bad for this guy? Because
I felt
Kinda,
bad
yeah.
for him. I felt bad for him.
he's
I
supposed
really
to
did.
he's supposed to evoke that feeling of pity and disgust. You know, like sometimes
in a way.
sometimes
I mean, he's kind of.
sometimes horror monsters are about like that haunted feeling where, yeah, they're out to kill you, but they're also suffering really badly. But
Yeah,
they're also out
it's
to
kind of,
kill
he's
you.
Yeah, well, the thing is, he's giving off a lot of, like, even the way he looks right this second, he's giving off Lisa Trevor vibes, but Lisa Trevor was a totally innocent teenage girl that had her parents' faces
Oh,
grafted
yeah.
onto her back. So it's not quite the same thing because he is still a bad guy. But I still felt sorry for him because it's like,
Now that-
even like he's being used by Miranda, whatever way you look at it, he doesn't realize what he's doing is necessarily wrong. She's taking advantage of him.
Also, I assume he didn't like volunteer for Kadu experiments. He's
Yeah,
just kind
exactly,
of one of the.
yeah.
He's a villager who got infected and just happened to survive.
Yeah, my evil twin is quite a bastard.
You're right about the Lisa Trevor visual comparison, because Lisa Trevor had those tentacles that would pop out of her back, and she was all hunched like that too. Very similar profile. I didn't see that before.
Well, it might be just a visual callback.
I think
I'm
it
not sure
is,
if
yeah, because they're
yeah.
completely different characters. That's the problem.
Yeah, but
I mean, I honestly, based on how he moves, I get more Quasimodo vibes from him. But
That
Quasimodo
also
too.
makes
I mean,
yeah.
you can also say that for
considering-
Lisa Trevor
Yeah.
though too.
If you know the actual novel, the Victor Hugo Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, not the
Actually,
Disney
fun
version.
fact, it's called the Cathedral of Notre Dame in France because it's not really about Quasimodo, the book, but basically
Yeah,
he's
it's about the football
So
team.
it sounds like an encyclopedia then.
yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of is because it's basically just
The
Victor
point of the
Hugo
book was
being like,
the-
look at how cool this cathedral is. Please don't.
yeah,
please
the
don't
point of the
tear it
book was they were going to tear it down, but Hugo made the book specific to try and make sure
and
they
then
didn't tear it
and
down.
then it got burnt down a few hundred years later anyway. So who cares?
Yeah. But anyway, in the book, the Hunchback is actually very similar to this guy because he's a sympathetic character, but he's basically being used by the priest in the church, like basically as a handyman and henchman. So he is sympathetic, but he is also like not anywhere near as like good-hearted as
No.
the Disney, because of course the Disney version.
Yeah.
Who'd have
He-
thunk
yeah.
shaved off the rough edges.
I was gonna
you
say,
know.
and he doesn't have the Disney Prince voice either, which would have been quite funny if they went with that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they-
the other awkward part of the Disney movies, they changed the priest to a mayor because they didn't want to insult quote unquote religious people, and it's kind of like, yeah, the whole dynamic changes when you do that. Sorry.
Yeah, because that's the
that's the whole point.
and that's
Yeah, it's a
part of
cathedral,
That's part
like,
of what
what-
makes Esmeralda being trapped in the cathedral so like harrowing for her is because she has sanctuary in the cathedral, so she's safe in there. But the priest is also in the cathedral, and he's a sexual predator.
It's
So
it's a
like
it's the-
she's
it's the
trapped
hunch-
inside and outside. You know.
I mean,
Like,
Notre Dame is a cathedral, right? So it's already religious. It's not fucking the Hunchback of Subway, is it?
Well, in any it's Disney movies had. They were trying to appeal to kids, and kids, I guess.
I don't know why they'd pick that one though if they wanted to appeal to kids. It's like
It's a
Because
very.
they were
It's probably
running-
the most adult one. It's probably the most adult Disney.
They were
movie. I
running
think it's
out of
cool.
fairy tales and had to like reach out.
Walt
to different
Disney's
sources.
Anna Karenina.
I think after Alice in Wonderland, like nothing can stop us.
Okay,
now.
so this whole situation, this area of the game, is just kind of like a timing puzzle where you have to get across these bridges.
It's not even a very hard one.
Yeah, it's like
The only difficulty is that if he gets you when you're on the wet platforms, he knocks you off and it's instant kill. So it's kind of like it's not really even hard. I'd honestly say this is the easiest section of the game.
you don't even
Yeah.
have to walk out onto that one to shoot down this thing. You can just do it from a distance.
Yeah. Before you even get there, that you can aim
Yeah.
at it from a distance. You're right. Yeah.
But like, all right, as long as you like wait for him to go and then go right after he goes, you're fine.
Basically, just be polite and let ladies first.
Sure. But like, it's pretty basic. This is another section of the game that's kind of like not all that fun on second and third playthroughs, which I think contributes to the reservoir being kind of the blandest part of the game.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same every time.
Yeah, this and the not PT section are the same every time. So it's kind of like when you go back to playing it, you kind of just want to do the first third and the last third of the game.
Said,
honestly,
the boss fight against Not Del Lago, what's his name? What's his actual name?
Moreau.
The boss fight against Moreau is actually really good. I will give it.
last awkwardly as I had the weapon loadout on me.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're gonna cheese it, but when you're playing it,
You can still explain why it's a
like
it's a great
there's
boss
a
fight.
lot. There's quite a bit of maneuvering to the boss fight. The boss occasionally puts up barriers that slow you down. You have to sort of blast or cut your way through them to get away from the boss. He spews acid at you. Occasionally, he'll get up on the rooftops and actually rain acid down. And there's very few places where you can take cover from that. So you have to be able to get to those quickly. Situational awareness is key. It's just an all-around really good boss fight. And
Welcome everybody to BrainScratch describes boss fights before they happen, because when they do happen, it will last about 5 seconds.
Well, yes.
Yeah, basically, we have to tell people what it's supposed to be like if Ryan
Otherwise, they'll never know.
As a general rule, Resident Evil 7 and 8 have knocked it out of the park in terms of boss fights because they usually use the environment in clever and interesting ways during the boss fights.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Like, the boss fights in 2 Remake and 3 Remake are, less 3 Remake. 3 Remake had some good boss fights. But, the ones in 2 Remake were largely just big enemy, big arena, and you were basically in a head-on fight against them.
More traditional, yeah.
Like I find them fun, but not like very brain taxing, if that makes sense. But like fighting Marguerite in Resident Evil 7, and she's hiding out in all these places.
Oh, that's such a good fight.
That
I
was
love that bit.
a great fight. Maybe a little too much health, but
Ethan pulls out, has massive action hero complex here. Now's not the time for snark.
Yeah. Okay, did we ever get an answer of what that stuff is? Because where is it coming from? How is it being materialized? What is it? Is he laying fish spawn? Is he laying eggs?
I don't know. It's clearly something that he can control from a distance because he does that while he's in his semi-human form too. But I'm not sure visually what that is. Maybe if I knew more about sea creatures, I'd be able to identify it. But
first thing I thought was like frog spawn, like kind of like tadpole-y, baby, fishy, froggy kind of shit. But
you got the deal like ads.
Yeah.
Way later down the road.
Yeah. I like this part. It's kind of like another brain dead set piece in a long line of brain dead set pieces, but like rotating the windmill so that you can climb up the windmill from the broken ladder is.
Can I say as well how absolutely pointless it is to pick the crank up from the wheel that you're about to use it on? Because I did that on my first playthrough, and then I started looking around where to use the crank, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, "Oh my god, the windmill's being destroyed! I'm gonna fall. What do I do?" And it's like, "Oh, I just use it." So why didn't Ethan just use it on the crank and then take the crank off? I don't know why they made you do it backwards.
By the way, the shaking of the windmill over there, that was just for effect. You can stand up there for as long as you want.
Oh, I know, but like you're thrown into the situation, and like you're thinking, like it just why did he take it off if he's gonna use it on there anyway? Like it just doesn't make any sense.
I guess the only thing I can think of is that gameplay-wise, it wants to signify that you have this thing.
Yeah.
And it's not just a one-time thing.
But they could do that after he's used it, because he could use it and then it could break off or whatever. It's like, oh, now I've got a crank. Cool.
You could, yeah. I just think that they want to make sure you realize you have the thing.
Also,
you got that crank.
This puzzle is stupid and dumb. Because it's just
brute force.
It got me.
Yeah, it did.
Is this one of those you press the button and it changes the color of the other buttons? Kind of.
No,
it's just more like once you realize the solution, you slap yourself.
The solution is that the solution is that the paper over there is at the wrong angle. So
yes.
You basically have to rotate it 90 degrees in your head. The problem is all the lights, when they're correct, will put up a little ping on the top there, more green. So you can't just press it over and over until it lights to green and just brute force it that way.
I guess.
Oh, I never thought about it. It's the witness for stupid people.
I mean, nothing is going to beat the 1, 2, 3, 4 puzzle from Resident Evil 4. So.
The puzzles in Resident Evil 4 were basically just there to feel like puzzles without actually being
Yeah, I was gonna say
Hey
we
guys,
gotta
you're
have some
playing
kind of
Resident
callback.
Evil, we promise.
It's kind of like the items in Devil May Cry 1, you know? They're there to evoke a feeling, but they don't really do much. Anyway, this is the boss arena. It's basically a bunch of previously submerged shacks that Moreau is going to chase you around. Lots of...
Well, he would usually, but here he's not going to do that. He's just going to die.
The poor thing's throwing up.
Incidentally,
So
if you do get caught by Moreau's acid, Ethan has well, you're not going to see it now because Ryan just cheesed the boss fight without moving, but
I like how angry Lewis
if you get
gets.
if you get hit by
He earned it, Lewis. He earned it.
if you get hit by Moreau's acid, like Ethan has this animation where he holds up his hands in front of his face and his skin is burning off, and it's frickin' terrifying.
It is. Yeah, you're right.
So
Mother Miranda, I'm rampaging through your village. You better come and stop me.
this is just revenge, though. That part of me finds it boring to watch you cheese a boss fight with the Magnum, but the other part of me just remembers how little Magnum ammo there was in Resident Evil 7, and I'm just like, catharsis.
Well, and there's barely any Magnum ammo in this game either. And
Well,
Can you unlock
he
unlimited
takes
Magnum
a-
ammo in 7?
There's enough Magnum ammo in 8 to get good use out of the Magnum. I certainly did in my game. In fact, like right before the final boss, if you just turn around and walk across the area where the Duke is, you can find more Magnum ammo
What the hell is
specifically for the
that
final
thing?
boss. That is a Kadu. That is a
that's my son.
That is a parasite that was created to work with the mold. So it's odd. The monsters in Resident Evil 8 kind of combine the mold with something that is not too dissimilar from Las Plagas and create like a sort of hybrid bioweapon using the two bioweapons. So it's not just the mold from Resi 7. I guess they added the Kadu parasite in to sort of explain why the monsters in 8 aren't just the molded from 7.
I guess, and as an aside, I'm curious as to, considering this clearly is not plugged in as far as like a cable or anything goes, so this has to be transmitted over airways. I wonder if anyone has like an old radio TV sort of thing and someone's just hearing this. Like on the,
that would be scary.
miles down the
Yeah.
road, where you just hear some random.
Well,
He's just,
you know,
also, how
random-
is
random-
he hearing? How is he go and get ye flask? How is he hearing what Ethan has to say in response? Though is my question.
I think there's a microphone near because remember the guy was talking.
He was talking to Mo-
someone
yeah,
who was
yeah,
here talking.
he
Yeah,
was.
so
well, I mean, we already had a situation like this in 7 where they were using CRT televisions for the same sort of shtick. And, you know, Heisenberg is the Frankenstein's army guy, so I'm pretty sure he has the tech for this kind of basic shit. Okay, so after you go up the elevator from here, you cannot come back down, so get all of the shit that's down here before you go back up. Otherwise, like me, you're not going to be able to come back down and get this treasure chest down here.
The treasure chest and 2 catfish, which are worth 2 fish.
It's kind of annoying that they have that point of no return there. It's like there's no logical reason why Ethan just won't use the goddamn elevator.
I'm not going back down there. It's scary.
I don't like fish.
But yeah, this area has more of the fish that you can't miss if you want to get all the food items in one playthrough. And of course, there's a treasure that you can sell. So very valuable pickup here, and this is your only chance to get it. So don't forget, like I did.
You know what's really weird is that last time when I was last playing this game a couple of days ago, I for the first time because when I streamed it, I played it on like just standard 1080p like max settings as good as I could get for the stream, but I then went through, because I've got a 3090 in my PC, so I then beefed up everything. I turned the HDR on, I went to 4K, I put it on 60 FPS, and oh my god, it looks so fucking good.
Yeah, no,
and
this is a very pretty game when you actually play it on like a big 4K
like,
TV.
I've now seen the light of playing this game in 4K HDR, and now looking at the footage now, it doesn't look anywhere near as good, and it's really sad now.
And it's funny though too because for a while until I think recently the game removed its DRM or at least got rid of the other DRM
Oh no! Did you hear
or something like that.
Did you hear the hacker who got rid of the DRM completely and it runs better now?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like,
Oh, damn.
After removing the DRM, apparently the game runs even better now. So if you're struggling to run the game on PC, even at like minimum specs, you should be able to run the game just fine now.
Huh.